Well, hey, I'm back after 3 years of not making a video. I have no remorse for not making a single video in those 3 years. But I had the hardest time making this video because the codecs and everything were screwed up with this new computer, and I have not ever set up this computer with Cam Studio or Audacity or any of this video editing software, and the video codecs got all messed up and the footage was all screwed up, so I lost about like half of it. But I was able to salvage this second half by just replaying the video. The video wouldn't import into the editing software, but it would play just fine. So I just re-recorded the video being played back, and that seemed to fix it. So this is what I got out. So man, yeah, 3 years is a long time. Still drawing anime, still being a loser, but I'm not doing cell shading anymore. I'm doing the kind of an in-between soft shading and cell shading, where I'm not going like totally smooth with the shading, like painting or something, but I'm kind of like making like levels, like a topographical map, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I personally think it works better because with cell shading you have to be like very precise. You have to, when you lay something down, it's like a very definite line between this is light and this is dark. So, but with the kind of this in-between soft shading and cell shading, you can kind of budget a little bit more that line where things are dark and when things are light. But you kind of preserve that cell shading kind of look where you have those hard edges in between, but at the same time there's like this nice transition. I don't really know if that makes any sense, but that's the way I think about it. And one thing that I realized a couple of years ago is that shading is not all about just shading, putting in the darker colors, but also putting in the highlights, putting in the higher colors as well, which I never really realized until recently, really. I don't have absolutely no idea why, but a lot of people seem to ignore highlights when they first start out, but highlights are just so important because it helps to add more definition and also gives your picture more dynamic range or more contrast, I guess, which I think is really nice. And it's just good. Originally, I'd planned for the floats to be not yellow and the ball to be like a stereotypical white and red beach ball, but then I realized that it'd be kind of a pain in the butt to make it kind of transparent. So I was like, forget it, I'm just gonna make it a solid color instead. So that's just me being lazy there. And one thing that I have a lot of trouble with when I'm shading is that for some reason whenever I shade not dark enough. So whenever I go into Photoshop afterwards to like mess around with the colors, I always end up increasing the contrast by pushing the dark colors darker and the light colors lighter. And I have absolutely no idea why that is, because when I'm in Psy and I'm actually painting, it looks okay to me. But when I bring it into Photoshop, all of a sudden I'm like, I need to have more contrast. For some reason, whenever I bring it in, it just looks really dull and looks really flat. I don't know if you can really pick that up in the video. I didn't have to do it too much in this picture, so maybe I'm getting better, I don't know. I think maybe it's just I want to increase the contrast because otherwise there's no point in opening up Photoshop. I really don't know. The thing is though, I really understand shading very well, but with highlights, I kind of just like blah, and I just make up this and that and just kind of just totally make it up as I go along. As you can see in the ball shading, I just put a whole bunch of like specular highlights in there for absolutely no reason. I was like, yeah, it looks good enough, it should be fine. I don't have that good of a handle on shading, but I feel like I understand shading a lot better than I do highlights. And one thing that I've ignored, probably stupidly, but a lot of people when they start off, they really focus on eyes and the face and getting all of that right, because you know that's like the prime feature of anime, right? Big heads, funky looking hair, big eyes, and like just ridiculous pupil shapes and all that kind of stuff. I was never really into that. I was always gravitated more towards drawing bodies and getting the arms and torso and the legs to look right. So it's kind of weird for me to even like spend time coloring in the face, doing the lips, making the eyes look pretty, putting in blush, and even shading it. Before I used to leave like absolutely no shading whatsoever onto the on the eyes or on the face. But now I add a lot of shading to try to give it definition, but it still kind of looks flat to me, so I don't really know how to like balance in between like anime, fake, not human being, real faces, and real human being faces. But I kind of got myself into a little bit of trouble because I didn't really feel like drawing water, so I just decided, you know, yellow and its complement green, they contrast, so I'm just gonna make the background green. So it kind of looks like she's like swimming in a pool of like acid or like pond water or something really nasty. But hopefully it works. I don't really know. And there I cut out a lot of me dicking around trying to make that that lemon texture work. But I really had to make it water because I didn't draw in her hands or like parts of her legs specifically because I was just like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to bother drawing those and they're underwater, so forget it. So I really kind of screwed myself over in some ways. So with that, we're almost at the end. So hopefully you guys liked this update after 3 years, and hopefully I make some more, but no promises. Alright, so till next time.